What's up, YouTube fam? Welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're going to be doing some live trading, something that we haven't really done much of on this channel. But, if you guys have followed me for a while, I love Shopify. My background was actually selling products via e-commerce on Shopify, drop shipping. I know tons of people that use it. Obviously, big companies use it as well. So with that being said, Shopify does report earnings tomorrow morning, and I'm going to take the risk to sell some puts on Shopify. So to do that, we're going to have to close out some trades to free up some capital. So the first trade that we're going to have to close, right, is going to be this covered call. So I'm going to just take the loss on it. So how am I going to do that? I'm just going to literally just close it out. I'm not going to worry about $5. Let's just get out of the position. So there you go. First position closed. The next thing that we would have to close will be the leap, right? So with that being said, we're going to free up some capital, about $4,300. And we're going to do that by trying to close this. It's not going to be easy. Let's see. We got in at, what did we get in at? 42.23. So we're going to get out at hopefully 43. The only issue with this position is I know that well, there you go, filled. So we got out for 43, which means that we ended up making money on the leap position, right? If we go to the history, let's see. Yeah, so we got in at 42, right? Let's see where we can find that. 42.23, got out 43.18. So we ended up making profit. Now we did end up losing some money on the covered calls, but it is what it is. The last position we're going to close is we're going to close one of these contracts. So we're not going to close both, just one. And, I don't really care. I'm not going to try so hard to get a better fill. I'm just going to get out just so we can, make this a quicker video and you guys can see how we are doing it. So that should free up enough capital for us to sell some puts on Shopify. There you go. 13,000 available. And now we're going to just go to Shopify. Click trade shop options, sell put. So based on the chart, right, I always like to get at least below daily levels. So obviously with that being said, at least under this gap is what I'm looking at. So maybe like a 116. Let's see, how much can we make? 560, right? And the cool part again is going to be that ideally with tomorrow being earnings, this position could be worthless. That's part of the reason why for me it's worth the risk, right? One being that I absolutely love Shopify, and two being that the earnings is tomorrow, which ideally kills this put, and we can make the 500 virtually overnight. So that's that. We are in, and there's nothing else to do, right? It's that simple. So for people who think, oh, selling options takes up too much of your time, trading takes up too much of your time, it really doesn't, right? Obviously, that's all it was. Ultimately, there is thought process that has to go into it, right? You can't just go in there and click buttons without knowing anything. But you learn more and more as time progresses. Obviously, you're just, when you decide to become a trader or investor, you have to always be somewhat in tune with the markets, right? Somewhat in tune with life. So, you're always on top of relatively large world events. You have to always be on top of big company earnings, right? We have Shopify tomorrow, and ideally I might even take the money, assuming Shopify works out the way I want, then I might even go into a DoorDash or Lyft, because both of these stocks look extremely bullish and promising. And then assuming both of those go the way we want, I might even consider going for Robinhood as well. And I don't have the money for Coinbase, but I love Coinbase. Airbnb is something I might consider. So this is a big week. And when I started this channel, the premise was selling options on big companies during earnings. If Shopify does absolutely poop the bed tomorrow and it dumps, then it's fine, because that's a stock that, like I said, I've wanted to hold. Ideally, like I said, I do want to run my TQQQ strategy. As you guys would see, we've actually gained, a little under 5% in the week. It says 5%, but it's a little under 5% in a week. So this strategy has been truly phenomenal. And it's, people were obviously saying, oh, you're buying leaps on leverage assets. That's so stupid. Listen, first of all, we bought deep in the money. Second of all, we were talking about the Qs here. Even if it is leveraged, it's still safer than 99% of the individual stocks you guys are looking at and talking about. So a leap is a leap, an option is an option, even if it's a leveraged asset. A leveraged asset of a 3x QQQ leverage to me is not something that I'm worried about. Now, with that being said, if we look at SPXL, to me, this is even safer than TQQQ, but obviously it's more expensive. And the reason why I say the word safer is because when we look at these highs in December of 2021, we see how it broke these highs. When we look at TQQQ, right, you notice how the same highs from December of 2021, it's not breaking, where if you look at regular QQQ, you can see that it clearly is way past those highs. Now, as to why that's the case, I don't really know exactly. Maybe it's the dividends, maybe it's the decay, right? I believe with these leverage assets, it rebalances every single day, which is why it doesn't recover as well. But as you can see, just based on the fact that, when you look at the SPY chart and you see it broke the December highs, and then you look at the SPXL, which is again a 3x version, if you're really that worried about being involved in a leveraged asset, then maybe SPXL is better for you than TQQQ. The reason why I like TQQQ is just the simple fact that it's cheaper, right? It's $85 instead of $182, right? So in options world, that's the difference between $8,500 and $18,000. So with all that being said, yeah, that's it, right? That's live trading. It's not like the stuff you guys might see of these futures traders that have to do all these rituals and make sure they're up before market open and scalp the NASDAQ. It's like when selling options, it's very easy. It requires so much less time. You could definitely do it while working a 9 to 5. You can definitely do it as a side hustle. You don't need to be a full-time trader. You just need to make sure you're doing it on assets you trust. And then in terms of being able to read charts, reading charts really helps you for just not panicking, right? Because you are going to be in moments like, let's just say Shopify poops the bed tomorrow and it completely dumps. I don't think it's going to get to 70s. Truthfully, I just don't even see it happening. If anything, I think the earnings report is going to be, I don't know, to my knowledge, from what I've seen, I feel like before market open especially, the earnings are always less volatile as opposed to after close. But we'll see, right? It doesn't really matter. Even if it comes all the way down here or down here, I'm just not worried about it. Like I said, this is a stock that I've had my eye on for years. It's a stock that I just don't see anyone coming in and taking Shopify's place, right? In terms of the world of e-commerce and drop shippers, I just don't see anyone ever coming in and beating Shopify. And the fact that billion-dollar companies use Shopify as opposed to designing their own platforms, like that just says enough. So to me, I'm not afraid of this, even regardless of what this is doing, right? These small time frames are just not relevant. That's just that, right? So for me, I'm doing it as a cash grab, right? I want to make this 500 tomorrow as opposed to the TQQQ, which I would wait till the end of the week. And then ideally, like I said, you don't really get seasons like this often where it's stocks that you absolutely love and your account can afford, right? Like something like Meta, yeah, I would have loved to sell puts on Meta during earnings, but my account can't afford a $714, which would be $71,000 just to sell puts. So when we have things like Shopify, Robinhood, Airbnb, DoorDash, these are all stocks that we can afford. DoorDash is, I know, a little pricier, right? But it's still in the price range. Now, I'm sure some of you are saying, oh, Jared, maybe I have 20K, but I don't want to put my entire account into it. That's fair, right? Obviously, my option selling portfolio isn't my whole portfolio. I am considering putting more money into this account. I know people have said, hey, we love that you started with 20K. It feels very authentic. But I am at that point where I'm starting to develop a strategy that I'd love with TQQQ. And I just want to make more, right? I want to pay the bills. I can't do everything to appease everyone, right? Like if some of you guys are going to say, oh, you start with 20K, I don't want you to put more in. Well, let's see you pay my bills then, right? And it's the same case with a lot of traders that maybe have other businesses or sell a mentorship. It's like people are always so quick to say, oh, why would you do that if you're such a profitable trader? In the end of the day, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a person in general, you always want more. And obviously just trading, watching the markets, it's very lonely, it's very boring. So it's great to build a community. Obviously, my community is 100% free. I'm not selling anything. If you want to join it, there's a link in the description. But with all that being said, you have to build a community. Otherwise, you're just sitting here taking plays by yourself, with no one to talk to. So if you're going to be a full-time, trader, then yeah, it is very important to have some sort of community, whether it's a Discord, whether it's friends that you trade with, whether it's work colleagues, whatever it is. Us humans thrive off being around other people, right? If you think about your happiest moments, it's almost never something by yourself. It's almost always some sort of celebration with others, right? Whether it's a birthday party, whether it's a successful, obviously today's the day after the Super Bowl, right? Maybe if you played sports growing up and you won a championship, celebrating with your teammates, right? It's just always involving others, right? And that's why having community is so important. That's why I started making these videos to, first of all, I started making them to just journal for myself. But then I thought to myself, if one person can learn from them, that's amazing. And obviously, as it's grown into a community with hundreds of people and thousands of people that watch my videos, it's just become amazing. I'm so thankful for everything involved. So with that being said, that's the live trading. That's what we're doing. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Obviously, if Shopify flies, then it's the best case. If it shoots down, then we're not going to have any reason to panic. And of course, if it just chops and just does one of those up and down earnings reports, then that should still kill premium and make it a win for us. So I really don't see us losing. Regardless, by the end of this week, I do plan on getting back into TQQQ. So by Friday, that will be my intentions. We'll be back into the full TQQ strategy. The only way we don't is if one of these stocks that we're trading, whether it's Shopify, Robinhood, DoorDash, forces us to run some sort of wheel or some sort of roll, which we will see what happens. But ideally, everything goes to plan. We get this premium destroyed tomorrow, collect the full 600, 500, move on, maybe take one or two more earnings plays, and then back to TQQQ. So this is my form of degeneracy. I know some people are buying calls, buying puts. Obviously, selling puts requires a lot more capital, but this is the safest form of degeneracy, in my opinion, because you're most likely going to collect premium, and worst case, you're collecting premium and then taking on some shares. So I hope you learned a lot from this video. I hope you got a lot from my live trading. Let's have a great day tomorrow. Let's have a great week. Make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe to the channel to see what happens, see where I take this account, and I'll see you guys in the next video.